Thank you for watching QTV. With the news, my name is Diana Sumbwe. We take a look at stories making headlines. 5 people have died in a road traffic accident in Mazabuka involving 6 vehicles. Government has expressed concern with the high rate of stillbirths in the country. The Lusaka Water and Storage Company has signed a $150 million United States dollars partnership with Zambian breweries aimed at improving water and sanitation coverage in George Compound. And now the news in detail. 5 people have died while 3 others sustained serious injuries in a road traffic accident that happened in Mazabuka on Wednesday morning. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the accident, which happened around 6:40 hours at Dallas area north of Mazabuka town along Great North Road, involved 6 vehicles. Ms. Katongo says the accident involved a Hino truck registration number FR96CDGP, which was being driven by Chari Charles, aged 54, of South Africa, from south to north. A Volvo truck registration number ABX 8247 towing a trailer registration number ALR 7391T being driven from north to south by Emmanuel Chibimba, aged 34, of Chikumbi area in Kabwe, and a Toyota Noah registration number BAH 5225 being driven from south to north by Dhaka, other names not known. Other vehicles involved include a Nissan registration number BX88XM GP driven from south to north by Osidius Hamwemba, age 48, of Kakumbi Site and Service, a Benz light truck registration number BY97GRGP towing a trailer registration number CM64 XGGP, and a Toyota Alphard registration number BAH 1786 driven by Emilia Mbewe Tokozani, age 26 years, of Charleston, from north to south. Ms. Katongo says the accident happened when the driver of the Hino truck, due to high speed, lost control of the motor vehicle and in the process hit into a Volvo truck which was coming from the opposite direction, proceeded to hit in the other 3 motor vehicles from the rear, which made the driver of the Toyota Noah to lose control and overturned. She says 4 died on the spot, while the driver of the Noah, identified as Samu Daka, aged 40 years, of Hillside, Mazabuka, sustained a fractured neck and died on the way to the hospital. Ms. Katongo says all the bodies of the deceased, whose names have been withheld until their next of kin are informed, have been deposited in Mazabuka District Hospital mortuary awaiting postmortem. Government says the high rate of stillbirths in the country is a source of worry. Ministry of Health Assistant Director of Child Health and Nutrition Patricia Mutepa says investing in the prevention of the stillbirths, maternal and neonatal mortality will reduce the high rate of stillbirths in the country is recording. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting on stillbirths, Ms. Mutepa, who represented Health Permanent Secretary for Administration, Dr. Kennedy Malama, has noted that most stillbirths are preventable with high-quality health care during pregnancy and childbirth. She has stressed the need to review the causes of stillbirths in order to improve quality health care, take corrective actions, and prevent millions of women and families from enduring the pain of losing their babies. Ms. Mutepa states that it is for this reason that her ministry has undertaken massive infrastructure development, which has seen the construction of hospitals and health posts across the country. She has emphasized that government is determined to increase the number of specialists in all fields so as to improve childbirth outcomes.
The Ministry of Health attaches great importance to improving maternal and newborn outcomes. Over the past few years, the government has undertaken massive infrastructure development, which has seen the construction of hospitals and health posts across the country and mass recruitment of healthcare workers. To make maximum benefit of these structures, human capital development is key. The Ministry of Health has undertaken initiatives to train health personnel, such as introduction of direct midwifery training, creating of training hubs in all the provinces in the country, creation of the National Training Center at Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital, to name but a few. In addition to all these, through the Zambia Colleges of Medicine and Surgery, which commenced specialist training program in 2017, we hope to produce over 500 specialists in all fields in the country. With such innovations, we can positively look to the future for improved birth outcomes. The Ministry of Health, therefore, welcomes initiatives such as yours, researching on ways of preventing and managing stillbirths through timely intrapartum care. I am aware that facility deliveries conducted by skilled birth attendants have improved, and so we should anticipate commensurate improvement in birth outcomes as well. The goal for 2030, according to the World Health Organization and UNICEF initiative, Every Newborn Action Plan, is to reduce preventable stillbirth rates in all countries to less than 12 per 1,000 births.
And making a presentation on stillbirths in Zambia, consultant obstetrician and gynecologist Professor Bellington Volika lamented that sustainable development goals have largely overlooked issues to do with stillbirths.
So despite the huge burden, these stillbirths were absent from these important goals, and they've been largely overlooked in international policies, resulting into lack of progress in reduction. On the other hand, the World Health Organization and UNICEF, in their Every Newborn Action Plan, they aim to reduce preventable deaths and challenges all countries to reduce these to less than 12 per 1,000 births by 2013. Currently, this prevalence is at 18 per 1,000 live births. So what are the causes of stillbirths? Similar to many other resource-constrained settings, however, causes of death are generally not available. You remember earlier on I mentioned nobody cares about stillbirths. Nobody is interested in doing postmortems just to make us be as close as possible to what could have caused the death of that child. We would generally say that numerous factors conspire to make their ascertainment a challenge. Causes of death may be recorded even without autopsy, as I've indicated, without laboratory data, or even clinical examination. So even if people see obvious things such as congenital anomalies, you find that all these things are not recorded because nobody bothers, nobody is interested.
Government has clarified that no community health worker will lose their employment following the withdrawal of support to the health sector by some stakeholders. Early this year, the Churches Health Association of Zambia, CHAZ, indicated that it will suspend financial support to community health workers at the end of 2018. The Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary in charge of administration, Dr. Kennedy Malama, has disclosed that government has adopted all the 301 community support workers that were recruited by the Churches Health Association of Zambia, CHAZ. Dr. Malama explains that CHAZ has taken up the responsibility of paying salaries for the health workers following the challenges that non-governmental organizations has been experiencing. He has further disclosed that the support of other partners, government is scaling up the issue of community health countryside by increasing the numbers of support staff. Dr. Malama says government is also training the community workers at Mwachisompala in Chibombo district and in Dola Teaching Hospital.
You are looking at the whole continuum of care, from the community all the way to the highest level of care. But we are also looking at service delivery matrix, which looks at promoting health, preventing disease, treating, rehabilitation, and palliative health care services. Within all that, we appreciate and respect the role the community level plays. So you are spot on to say, as government, how have we prepositioned ourselves to ensure that there is no disruption of service? First, when partners come to invest in the healthcare system, government provides the leadership. We guide them what to do, be it human resource for health, including community health workers. They work with the district health officers. So indeed, government has taken it up upon itself. What we've done is to scale up the the issue of community health assistance countrywide.
The Ministry of Finance expects the fiscal deficit outrun for 2018 to be around 7% of the country's GDP, and government expenditure in the third quarter of 2018 was 9.4% below the period target. Permanent Secretary for Budget and Economic Affairs, Emmanuel Pamu, says government targeted to spend 51.4 billion kwacha from January to September, but that the outrun ended up being 50.3 billion kwacha. Dr. Pamu says this represents a percentage variation of negative 2.1%. In a presentation during the National Development Coordinating Committee NDCC meeting in Lusaka, Dr. Pamu said the 2018 budget performance was thus broadly in line with the quarter target, with revenues and grants recorded at 5% above target. He says government targeted to raise in revenues and grants 38.3 billion kwacha from January to September 2018, but that the outrun was 38.7 billion kwacha, which represents a percentage variation of 1.0%.
Now I move to the outlook for the rest of 2018. The macroeconomic fundamentals are expected to remain stable in the last quarter of 2018, despite the pressure from the recent depreciation of the kwacha against major currencies and also increasing inflation. However, inflation is expected to close the year within the single-digit levels. Work on the implementation of austerity measures will continue, as well as those announced in the 2019 budget, such as the sales tax implementation. Growth in 2018 is expected to close to the year-end projection of 4%. Government remains committed to addressing emerging threats to the enhancement of its development agenda, including rising debt and vulnerabilities in public financial management.
Speaking at the same meeting, Secretary to the Cabinet Roland Musiska called for a coherent mechanism to link the budgeting and national planning process. Dr. Musiska says the Ministries of Finance and National Planning should do so following their agreed-upon decision that national budget preparations begin in January, starting with 2019. He says this is in order that the future medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, can accommodate programs that are being implemented under the 7th National Development Plan.
The Deputy Secretary to Cabinet briefed me that we all have agreed that starting from next year, our budget preparation will start in January, so that we can have all the conversations, the dialogues and everything, so that we move together. By the time we are coming to the final budget, we will have done our work, so that our future medium-term expenditure frameworks takes into account the things that we need to implement. I am therefore directing my colleagues in the Ministry of Finance and National Development Planning that they should together come up with a coherent mechanism to facilitate the planning and budgeting process and ensure that they are all linked to what we are doing together.
The Lusaka Water and Storage Company has signed a $150 million United States partnership with Zambian breweries aimed at increasing and improving water and sanitation coverage in Lusaka's George compound under the Lusaka Sanitation Program. Speaking during the signing ceremony, Company Managing Director Jonathan Kampata says the George Water Supply Scheme will see an increase in communal water points and help increase water service coverage to service other areas not in the initial project area. Mr. Kampata says currently the water supply system in George compound does not correspond to the population in the area, thereby putting pressure on the aged infrastructure, resulting in reduced hours of supply in the area. He is hopeful that the company, in partnership with Zambian breweries, will execute the project in a timely manner so that the people of George compound can be able to access clean and safe water. Mr. Kampata has since commended Zambian breweries for being relentless in its commitment in ensuring improved water and sanitation services to the people.
In terms of the timeline, this will be defined by the consultants, because they will do the implementation plan after they do the design and everything. But we expect the whole project, because to involve the construction of the industrial boreholes, protection of the well fields, the transmission line, the work to do the communities. But the approach is that we should phase it. We're not going to do everything to say we're going to construct the boreholes and the communities and the industrial supply. We're going to phase it into blocks. So already the work we're doing in Georgia already now is part of it's part of the sub component of this overall Lusaka West project. So we're already beginning with the work to do with providing at least some water supply to the local communities.
And Zambian Breweries country managing manager Jose Moran says the partnership with Lusaka Water and Storage Company is one way of giving back to the community. He says the company has a huge responsibility to improve the lives of people around its area of operation. Mr. Moran has urged other institutions to come on board in ensuring that communities are provided with safe drinking water and sanitation services.
Because we always want to give back to the communities. And this is also giving back to our own employees and to their families, making sure that they stay healthy and they have access to clean water, which we know is still a challenge here in Lusaka and in our country. So we're happy to collaborate, very pleased that we're signing this grant. Looking forward for the opening in February. We will be there. We will be there with Ezekiel and the team, celebrating that we are one step ahead around creating a better livelihood for our people. And definitely also very happy to see the initial developments around Lusaka West pipeline. It's also another project where we are deeply interested to collaborate. We believe in it. We believe that water is a risk, not only for the future, for the present. There's a lot of scarcity in the area where we are located, so definitely it is an interest from a commercial point of view, of course, to secure water to continue producing, but also there is an interest from a community perspective, a social perspective, because as Zambian Breweries, we always believe that being such an important actor in the economy of the country, we have a big responsibility to also help improve the life of the people, to give back something that we're also getting.
The Zambia Institute of Environmental Management, ZIEM, has expressed concern with the non-compliance to environmental regulations by some mining companies in the country. ZIEM Executive Director Morgan Katati has attributed this to weakness in regulations. Mr. Katati has noted the need to change how environmental regulations compliance in the extractive industry is monitored. He explains that presently government relies on environmental reports from mining companies and uses the information obtained to regulate the sector as opposed to carrying out its own monitoring. Mr. Katati says there is under-declaration of population by some mines, adding that investigations by his organization have on several occasions established that the environmental contamination is higher than that which is declared. He has since urged government to recruit adequate mine inspectors with a focus on environmental inspection if the country is to be saved from the high rate of population it is being subjected to.
When you look at those reports, most of the reports, of course the mines, they do their part, they submit. But for us, when we look through some of these reports, that's where we see gaps. Because there are times when the mines simply, some of them, and not all of them, some of them, they will submit a report. You compare the report they are submitting today and the report they submitted maybe last year. If you track, say, 10 years report, you find a lot of repetitions. And in terms of, this is not repetition in terms of words, it's repetition in terms of figures. And to me, that is where I have a problem, because nature is never consistent. Yeah, it does not give a constant flow. It has to fluctuate. So if, for example, you submitted a figure, say you were monitoring, for example, sulfur dioxide, you submit this month 83.4, next month 83.3, next month 80, then there's no consistent, because the natural things never give a constant line. They will give a line which is not constant. So Because of that, you find that there's too much consistency and too much, kind of repetition of figures. So it becomes a problem. And where is the problem coming from? The problem is coming from a weakness in the system, because the regulator do not have enough capacity, finance, to do independent monitoring.
The Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Zaki, has described the year 2018 as a high-cost year for most businesses in the country. Zaki President Michael Nyirenda says most businesses had to stretch their budgets due to the unexpected increase in the price of fuel, among others. Mr. Nyirenda has explained that the increase in the price of fuel has a ripple effect on a number of things, including transport fares, and that this meant that people and businesses had to go beyond their budget to survive. He states that as much as all was not gloomy in the year 2018, most of the happenings that characterize the year have been negative, such as the depreciation of the kwacha, which impacted negatively on business, considering that Zambia is a net importer. Mr. Nyirenda adds that the increase in the cost of fuel has also been a negative and an additional cost in terms of doing business in the country. He is, however, hopeful that things will get better come 2019.
Of course, reflecting 2018, it has been somewhat a mixed bag. You can't say it's been a very, very successful year. At the same time, you can't say it's been a bad year. But all in all, to sum it up, is that there have been a few, of course, I know people want to only hear the good side, but I think let's start from the negative side, and so maybe you can end up with more positive. Of course, what has been negative has been, of course, our loss of value in terms of our local unit, kwacha. That has actually impacted negatively, generally on business, because it's actually an added cost of doing business when you lose your local unit, because then it reflects, especially as we are a net importer as a nation, it means our cost of importation has gone up by that same percentage, if not more, because people tend to add more on their markups. But then the other has been, which has been a follow-up, has been the increase in the cost of fuel. Of course, this was because the explanation from ERB was because the local unit had lost value, but at the same time, the cost of the international fuel price also had gone up. So that also meant we had to increase. So that also was or is a negative in that we've had an increase in the pump fuel price. That also has translated to an additional cost in terms of doing business. So all in all, if you sum it up, it means that generally it has been higher than one plan, because one plans at the end of each year going into the following year. And even the nation, that's what it does in terms of our national budget. So everybody planned last year for this year. So if any fundamentals change, then they actually go to destabilize the very efforts that you put in. So that is what one would call a gloomy picture, but it's not always lost.
Disability organization Otterbox says increasing funding to programs meant to improve the well-being of persons with disabilities is the only way they will effectively contribute to national development. Otterbox country manager Lango Sinkamba is concerned that over the years there has not been tangible investment towards programs and projects for persons with disabilities. Mr. Sinkamba notes that while the country and civil society organizations have programs and projects for the disabled in place, there is no funding to ensure that these programs are implemented to serve their intended purpose. He says life will be more difficult for the disabled going forward if nothing done to invest programs meant to uplift their well-being.
Surely, even now, if the government came up and say we have 70 million kwacha to cater for disability projects and issues, by tomorrow you see how many NGOs will come up with the programs in relation to disability. Why? Because there's money there. Why? They know there's employment there. Just like these other sectors, women, girl child, vulnerable children, and so forth. They have put money in there. How many NGOs do we have? Thousands of them. Why? There's money there. In disability sector, there's no money. So nobody is interested to venture into it. So it's until we started investing in disability sector, in disability issues, then we'll see even these issues of discrimination, issues of mainstreaming, issues of inclusiveness, those they will automatically come because there is something there which brings the people into it.
The Media Network on Child Rights and Development says there is need for adequate allocation of resources in the national budget to the education sector if the status of children in the country is to improve. Network Executive Director Henry Kawe says a consistent provision of adequate resources coupled with prudent utilization will ensure challenges that are hampering smooth child growth are addressed. And Mr. Kawe has bemoaned the recent revelation that about 5,000 girls in Eastern Province fell pregnant in the third quarter of 2018. We have more in this report.
Despite making a number of progressive strides towards improving the welfare of the child, Zambia is said not to be effective in addressing many other challenges being experienced by children. The Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kawe is concerned that many children in the country are living as if they are aliens. Addressing the media in Lusaka, Mr. Kawe says lack of concerted efforts by relevant institutions and authorities to address these challenges is the cause of this development.
Zambia is a country that is blessed with strong cultural and Christian values that have increasingly been dwindled due to various socio-economic factors such as poverty, lack of enforcement of laws, weak legal framework, and fair distribution of services between rural and urban areas, and negative attitudes towards child rights due to misunderstanding of their meaning.
Mr. Kawe notes that not all is gloomy, as a few good things have been done.
In the recent past, a number of progressive steps were taken to improve the welfare of the child in the country, commencing with the commitment that was shown. Although we had a failed referendum, the Bill of Rights did cover a number of issues that should have enhanced children's rights, such as pre-primary and secondary education, among others.
You know, as 16-year-old Maxwell Smboa is concerned that society has concentrated so much on caring for the welfare of the girl child at the expense of her boy counterparts.
Another thing I would like to talk about is the boy child. I think we have concentrated so much on the girl child that we forget the needs of the boy child. Historically, yes, the girl child has been more disadvantaged, and gender equality is something that I'm personally passionate about, and I always post about these things on Facebook and whatever forum that I have. I always talk about gender equality. I think the boy child is someone that we have neglected in society. The boy child goes through a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. Every time you tell a boy child to man up, that just does bad things to them.
Maxwell is also urging government to seriously respond to the multiple challenges that young people in the country are experiencing.
And I believe that each and every child, in one way or another, is like that, including children living on the streets. So if we start to take care of such people, then we're going to have sensible presidents and ministers in the future. And one thing I forgot to talk about in our education system, it's not developing the people. Children are forced to learn things that add little value to their lives. I want to study law, but very few of the subjects that are being offered in school are going to help me achieve my dream. I'm forced to learn complex chemistry, things that don't make sense, things that I don't see in day-to-day life. Alkanes, becoming a normal thing to see a child on the streets. And a lot of people, when you ask people, do you give to the street children? A lot of people tell you, I don't give, because the more you give them, you are encouraging them to stay on the streets. I don't think anyone in their normal mind would want to stay in the cold, because it gets very cold at night.
Specifically children, because I mean that's why we're all here. We're here to hear about the state of children in Zambia, and as it has been mentioned, I am very passionate about children's rights. It still has to worry us that we've got a lot of girls falling pregnant. And one thing that I've noticed about organizations right now is instead of focusing on, I mean it's very important that we focus on protecting other girls from falling pregnant as well, but then we should learn to also focus on the girls who've fallen pregnant. What happens to them? What happens to their children? We've got things like the re-entry policy, but then we look at statistics and we see that most girls who fall pregnant don't actually go back to school, and we cannot blame that on stigma. Yes, stigma might have a huge role to play, but then I feel there are other issues that we're not investigating as to why these girls are not going back to school, as to why these girls are not living out their full potential, and what happens to their children as well. Do these children keep on living in this generational curse, as I like to call it? Do they keep living in poverty because there's no way out for them?
And Advocacy for Children's Justice Executive Director Josephat Njovu is demanding for quick disposal of court cases involving children.
Our laws need to be more sensitive, and as advocates for child justice, and of course civil society, we are advocating for the child friendliness of the system itself. Now, when we're talking about the system starts from the community level as well. Like, for example, how do the community respond when a child offends? In terms of mob justice, the aggrieved. How do you look at the children that need help when they actually offend? Our goal is to see that the environment in which the children are growing is such that environment that is helping the children to reform rather than being punished.
Chileshe Mongo reporting for QTV News in Lusaka.
Zambian Breweries has finalized the sale of its Coca-Cola bottling business to Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, CCBA, in a move that paves the way for it to focus fully on its clear beer operations. The transaction follows shareholder and regulatory approval and is part of Coca-Cola wider restructuring of its bottling and distribution business across Africa in the wake of the acquisition of Zambian Breweries' parent company Submiller by AB InBev in 2016. Under the agreement in Zambia, identified employees have all received letters of employment from CCBA's new company, Kalundu Beverages Limited, trading as Coca-Cola Beverages Zambia, and officially transferred with the business. Zambia Breweries Country Director Jose Moran says he is very pleased that throughout this process they were able to keep everyone's jobs and believes that the new company focuses on soft drinks with CCBA at its helm will be beneficial for the growth of the soft drinks category in Zambia. Mr. Moran says Zambian breweries will continue to manufacture and bottle Coca-Cola soft drinks under a co-packaging contract with Coca-Cola Beverages Zambia, CCBZ. He says the agreement enables Zambian breweries to focus on its core business of producing and distributing clear beer brands. Orca Deco Zambia has donated items worth 120,000 to Vision of Hope Home to go towards upkeep. The items donated include mattresses, pillows, kitchen items, and toys. Speaking when he made the donation, Orca Deco Zambia managing partner Ryan Shararahas says his company is committed to providing support to the impoverished and underprivileged in the community. Mr. Shararahas has praised Vision of Hope for taking young women off the streets to provide shelter, invest in their education, and develop their skills to equip them to make better life decisions. Here's a report.
It was a joyful day for these children, enjoying singing songs, dancing, and playing games. Christmas is a time in a year when the birth of Jesus Christ is celebrated across the world. People offer special prayers, go to parties, and during this happy time, some share and exchange gifts with their family and friends. Orca Deco donated mattresses, pillows, kitchen items, and toys at a Christmas decorating ceremony held at Vision of Hope. Orca Deco Zambia Managing Director shares what motivated his organization to donate to Vision of Hope.
Working together for a better future is also one of the values that Orca shares, and one of the values that we work for and that we want to continue to push. We have donated today 120,000 kwacha worth of products to this organization in order to help them pursue that vision. They have just built a new dormitorium, however, they don't have any mattresses, any pillows, anything to sleep on. We have donated mattresses, pillows. They've also just opened a new kitchen, however, with no kitchen utensils, no plates, nothing to cook, nothing to learn these girls how to bake. We've donated baking utensils, cutlery, plates, all these types of kitchen items. And also, and most importantly, today is the Christmas season, and every person, every child deserves to spend a happy and a joyous Christmas. And we have donated hundreds of gifts and of Christmas decorations for these girls so that they can also be happy this Christmas, have gifts, because every person in this country and around the world deserves to receive a gift from Santa Claus on Christmas Day.
Founder of Vision of Hope, Chitalo Chishimba, has thanked Okadeko for the gesture.
We cannot do the service without your great support. The girls need support. They are the mothers of tomorrow. And a few of the girls that you have met today, of course you could see the joy. You can see that, without this, they were not going to be, the happiest moment that we are having today. With the great support, mattresses, we can sleep comfortably. And I only pray that on Christmas Day, we are not going to sleep the entire day because we are going to be too comfortable.
And the girls have thanked Okadeko for the donation, saying it will allow each child the opportunity to sleep in their own bed.
Because Christmas is a day of sharing and loving. Yes, we also want to say thank you for the mattress you brought for us. We'll be sleeping comfortably. We'll be having peace when sleeping together with the pillows. And we want to say thank you to the Okadeko. This is your home. Feel free. You can come anytime. Thank you for the decors. It looks beautiful here. Thank you.
For QTV News, I'm Mwene Mleza in Lusaka.
And in sports, Minister of Youth, Sport and Child Development Moses Mawere has praised athletes who participated at the just-ended African Union Sport Council Region 5 Games held in Gaborone, Botswana, for winning 27 medals, including 12 gold medals. Mr. Mawere praised the 74 young athletes for emerging fourth in comparison to South Africa, who had fielded 294 athletes, and host Botswana, who had over 200 participants. Speaking when he was presented with the medals won by the athletes at his office, Mr. Mawere says that government is cognizant of the fact that there are critical factors that need to be observed in order for the country to succeed at international competitions. He says it is for this reason that government has continued to provide a conducive environment for sport development, including the provision of sports facilities, capacity development, and opportunities for coaches and athletes to participate in competitions. The 74 participants took part in athletics, boxing, swimming, judo, and football.
Performance during the games. You don't know what you have done, but what you need to know is that you have made your country, your people proud of your achievement. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, statistics indicate that this is one of the best achievements by the Team Zambia in regional games. It is gratifying to note that we emerged fourth at the games despite sending less athletes to the games in comparison to most of the countries which participated. This positive trend is an indication that the efforts that we have all invested in sport and athletic development is bearing fruits. It is our hope that the positive trends that we have collectively gained be sustained and results in more medals at major international competitions. Your government is cognizant of the fact that there are critical success factors that need to be observed in order for us to succeed in international competitions. It is for this reason that we have continued to provide a conducive environment for sport development, including the provision of sports facilities, capacity development opportunities for coaches and support staff, training equipment and opportunities for our athletes to participate in competitions like we are witnessing today. This was not easy. I'm sure the federation would have found it very difficult to send your athletes to Botswana if it was not for government support.
And Director of Sports Bessie Chelemu gave an overview of the African Union Sports Council Region 5 games, which saw Zambia emerge 4th overall.
We were able to participate in 9 sport codes. The games had 11 sport codes, but Zambia was only able to participate in 9, and these included boxing, netball, football, we had tennis, we had judo, we had athletics. We also had athletics for the visually impaired. So during the games, the team that was sent to represent the country performed very well. We were in the 3rd position for a long time, and we were leading even in the medal count until Saturday. So we've come out 4th position in the region. There were 11 countries participating. For us, this was really a good performance. Out of 11 countries, we were able to come out 4th. And the performance was such that we had 12 gold medals, we had 5 silver medals, and we had 10 bronze medals. The performance of the athletes was exceeding good in terms of their commitment, in terms of their performance. They put in their best, and this has given us hope that when we participate in other international coming events like the All Africa Games next year, or as we prepare our athletes for Tokyo 2020 for the Olympic Games, we now have a pool of athletes where we can pick from.
In a vote of thanks, Maya Piri, who minted bronze in swimming, thanked government for the support.
To participate in the Region 5 Games in Botswana. To the athletes, I would like to recognize everyone for their hard work and dedication. Whether you have a medal or not, I know that everyone performed to the best of their abilities and made Zambia very proud. We would like to pledge to you, Honourable Minister, and the government, that from the lessons we learned in Botswana, we will strive to do well in future competitions, including the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Thank you, and may God give us.
Meanwhile, Sports Minister Moses Mawere has appealed for sponsorship from cooperating partners towards the successful hosting of the 2018 National Sports Awards, estimated to be held at a cost of 150,000 kwacha. Mr. Mawere says the ministry has postponed to January 2019 the awards, which were supposed to be held this month due to insufficient funding. He has explained that the awards, whose theme is celebrating excellence in sport, were supposed to be held on 21st December 2018, but they have since been moved to next month as the targeted cost has not yet been met. Mr. Mawere says so far only 80,000 kwacha has been raised through donations and pledges from various companies and institutions such as Zesco, Topstar and Atlas Mara.
And you realize that the facilitation organizing committee comprises of people from various industries, including the media, the sports fraternity, the private sector, and the business community. So we want it to be driven to the large extent by the private sector. So what we are doing is we want to avoid using government resources to propel these awards. So that's why you have seen that we are mentioning a lot of private sector pledges and other things. But of course, government will always be there to ensure that we provide the enabling environment. Our budget is 150,000 kwacha for us to stage this event, this award event. So far, we have, from the pledges and the contributions, we have raised 85,000 kwacha. Partly, this is also another reason why we are pushing to January, because we want to allow those who have made pledges to honor their pledges. And also, we are looking at the 21st December, it's just a Friday. We may not manage to put everything in place for us to stage this very important event. So,
on that sporting item, we come to the end of the news, but before we go, we take a look at stories making headlines. 5 people have died in a road traffic accident in Mazavuka involving 6 vehicles. Government has expressed concern with the high rate of stillbirths in the country. And the Lusaka Water and Storage Company has signed a $150 million United States partnership with Zambian breweries aimed at improving water and sanitation coverage in George compound. And the news. Thank you for watching.